At noon, here's a live look outside with our tower cam. It's a first alert weather day as we continue to track a strong storm system that's bringing heavy rains, wind, and thunderstorms to parts of the state. We have a number of severe weather alerts up right now, including a severe thunderstorms watch for parts of the state. Now, the storm is causing power outages around the islands. Here are the latest numbers just in. On Oahu, more than 6,000 customers are in the dark at this time. About 1,700 on Kauai. Some residents there tell me they haven't had power since 6 this morning. Hawaii Island has just over 200 affected customers, and in Maui County, 7,300 customers are without power. And the weather threat prompted the early closure of all Maui County public schools today. The Maui Emergency Management Agency advised the Department of Education to end classes at 11:45 a.m. Arrangements were made for buses to transport students who use the bus, and Maui officials say a decision will be made by 6 tonight if schools will be closed tomorrow. And with the heavy rain comes the threat for flash flooding. We're getting reports that some businesses in Kaimuki are being inundated with water. Meteorologist Drew Davis joins us now with the latest forecast. Drew.
Aloha, Ashley. Like you mentioned before, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that's up for the offshore waters and the islands of Oahu and the entirety of Maui County. This is going to continue until 6 p.m. this evening, and just before this has now started, we actually had a severe thunderstorm warning up near Hawaii Kai and Waimanalo. There was a cell that was giving around 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I do want to break down our first alert radar and satellite. I'm going to step off screen so you can see this a little bit more clearly. We're going to zoom into this storm, and I'm going to show you what's going on outside right now. You can see a lot of activity over the central portions of the state, and throughout today we've actually been seeing this thunderstorm develop just to the southwest of Oahu. You can see right now, this is over the last hour, we're still seeing a lot of lightning just over the eastern portions of the state, but that cell that's right here, you can actually, that's right to the northeast of Waimanalo, is moving away. We're going to see a little bit of a decline over the next several hours, but this system is moving further eastward towards Maui County. So we'll continue to track this throughout the rest of this evening and track the impacts as well. Ashley, back to you.
Thank you, Drew. Oahu's Board of Water Supply is reminding the public if the power goes out, its pumps will cease to operate.
So we highly recommend that people are preparing, just like for a hurricane, prepare water. We recommend 1 gallon per person per day. And you just put one little drop of bleach in whatever your storage container is to keep it fresh, and you should be able to store it for up to 30 days.
Pahinui says crews are also closely monitoring the Board of Water Supply's 3 dams and reservoirs, including Nu'uanu 1 and 4 and Mauna Olu Reservoir in Waianae. She says a total of 8 siphons were installed at Nu'uanu Reservoir 1 back in 2018 after torrential rain from Tropical Storm Olivia prompted the utility to warn 10,000 residents they could be evacuated. As of right now, she says, there are no concerns.
We've been running 2 siphons since yesterday, but the level was extremely low to begin with.
We also checked in with the city regarding the island's other dams and reservoirs. Officials say at the moment everything looks good, but they will continue to monitor water levels as the storm passes over the island. And stay with Hawaii News Now as we continue to track the system and impacts. You can check in for updates on air, online, and on our mobile app. To our nation's capital, authorities say there are no survivors of the tragic mid-air collision last night between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines commuter jet. 67 people are believed to have perished. Erica Brown has the latest on the investigation from Reagan National Airport.
Recovery efforts on the Potomac River continued Thursday afternoon in one of the deadliest U.S. aviation accidents in recent history. CCTV captured the moment when an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines regional jet as it prepared to land at Reagan National Airport last night.
At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident.
The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into how the collision occurred.
We have not recovered the flight data recorders yet. We know they're there. They are underwater.
President Trump appeared in the briefing room requesting a moment of silence for the victims.
We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers.
He then quickly pointed a finger at the previous administration's hiring practices.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative.
Democrats pushed back.
For the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified, it just turns your stomach.
Flights have resumed here at Reagan National Airport after they were paused for nearly 14 hours, though several hundred were canceled and others delayed.
American Eagle Flight 5342 originated in Wichita, Kansas, where a prayer service was held Thursday.
But the only way that we will get through this is together.
Officials say flight conditions were clear Wednesday night. Erica Brown, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.
And the tragedy is hitting the ice skating community especially hard. U.S. Figure Skating confirms the plane's passengers included several of its members who had ties to clubs in Massachusetts and Virginia. Courtney Cole reports from Boston.
A makeshift memorial is growing at the Ashburn Ice House in Virginia, honoring victims of Wednesday's deadly mid-air collision.
It's a tough day. The staff is struggling.
Rob Lorenzen serves as the club's general manager and says some of his members were on American Airlines Flight 5342.
It's a shame that the community has to experience this, and the potential of several individuals no longer participating, it leaves a void.
The Skating Club of Boston is grieving the loss of 6 of its members who were returning from the World Figure Skating Championships and Development Camp in Kansas.
I just broke down. Just to hear the news in the morning was absolutely heartbreaking, knowing that it's going to impact a community of skaters.
Teen skaters Spencer Lane and Jenna Hahn, known for their talent and leadership, were traveling with their mothers, Jen Hahn and Christine Lane.
Spencer was a crazy kid, highly talented, like incredibly talented. Gina, just a wonderful kid, wonderful parents, great athlete, great competitor, loved by all.
2 esteemed club coaches, married couple Jenya Shiskova and Vadim Nomov, 1994 world champions, were also on board. They trained in St. Petersburg, Russia, before moving to the U.S. to train young skaters.
When you lose coaches like this, you lose the future of the sport.
The Skating Club of Boston lost 18 of its members in 1961 in another plane crash en route to the World Championships in Prague. Courtney Cole, CBS News.
A busy Capitol Hill hosted confirmation hearings for 3 of President Trump's nominees. That included another day of grilling for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Meg Oliver has more.
The Senate Health Committee's top Republican said he's struggling with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination.
That's my dilemma, man.
Senator Bill Cassidy is a physician and says he's concerned by Kennedy's misleading arguments about vaccines.
If you come out unequivocally, vaccines are safe, it does not cause autism, that would have an incredible impact.
But earlier, Kennedy said he'd first have to see the data.
If you show me data, I will be the first person to assure the American people that they need to take those vaccines.
Tulsi Gabbard asked senators to confirm her as Director of National Intelligence and defended her position on Russia.
I want to make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation.
Trump loyalist Kash Patel faced questions on his nomination to lead the FBI.
And I've never once advocated for political violence or violence against law enforcement.
Democrats called his statements about January 6 defendants disqualifying.
I'm talking about his characterization of criminals who assaulted police officers as political prisoners.
While his nominees make their case to Congress, President Trump returned to a campaign theme, instructing schools to promote a patriotic education. An executive order threatens to withhold funding from schools that teach about gender ideology or critical race theory. Meg Oliver, CBS News, New York.
Happening now, Honolulu prosecutor Steve Alm is holding a press conference to discuss a lawsuit that was filed in connection with a New Year's Day manhunt. On the first day of 2024, police had a shootout with 44-year-old Sydney Tafoki Tau near the UH Manoa campus. Tafoki Tau was killed, but at the time nearby, Tavita Cariente says he was rammed against a fence by a police van and then beaten while officers held his father down. Cariente filed a federal lawsuit citing that police may have confused him with Tafoki Tau. The attorney for the father and son say a trial has been set in federal court for March 2026. We're monitoring the press conference and will bring you the update on air and online. Now to the latest on the Aliyah Manu fireworks explosion. HPD arrested 4 people in connection to the deadly blast on New Year's. They were all taken into custody yesterday and face multiple charges, including reckless endangerment and endangering the welfare of minors. This comes after a man and woman were arrested last week in connection to the explosion. They've both since been released pending investigation, and as of now, 5 people have died because of the incident. 5 others are being treated at an Arizona burn center. Former corrections officer Gilchrist Fernandez pleaded guilty to 2 felonies, importation of fireworks and attempted possession of fireworks. The state attorney general says he had almost 95 pounds of aerial fireworks mailed to OCCC back in 2022. He faces up to 90 days in jail and a $5,000 fine.
This is great news for the state of Hawaii, and it will show these illegal participants in the fireworks industry that they will be arrested, they will be caught, and they will be convicted. So let's chalk one up for the fight against illegal fireworks.
Fernandez's sentencing is set for June 18th. Gambling machines, cash, and a loaded firearm were seized when an illegal game room was raided this week. This happened in Waianae. The search warrant was executed by the Narcotics and Vices Division Gambling Detail. A trial to decide how to split up Maui's wildfire settlement money was cut short yesterday when attorneys told the judge they reached a deal. The lawyers would not reveal details of the agreement, but they had been arguing for months over who would get first dibs to the $4 billion fund, victims who hired individual attorneys or those who joined a class action lawsuit with a small group of lawyers. Attorney Cynthia Wong represented individual plaintiffs.
I know it's been a long and difficult road and it's been a long process, but we are getting much closer to getting money to people. I know money doesn't make a difference in the end if you've lost a loved one, but you know, our justice system is about compensation in a case like this. So we're working very hard to make that happen.
Wednesday's deal is not the end of it. The entire settlement remains on hold while the state Supreme Court decides if insurance companies will get some of the money to repay more than $2 billion they paid in claims. Well, no more wheelies. That's just one of the new rules for e-bike riders in a bill set to be signed into law by Honolulu's mayor. The City Council passed Bill 52 yesterday. It also bans all non-standard riding positions, including standing, kneeling, and riding on the handlebars. The bill also sets a 750-watt limit on motors and requires all riders under the age of 18 to wear a helmet.
Hamas sets more hostages free from Gaza. I'm Haley Ott with the chaotic scenes and emotional reunions.
Also ahead on This Is Now, the outrageous price for advertising during this year's Super Bowl. How much companies will have to shell out for a 30-second spot. We'll be right back. President Trump's Middle East envoy is in Tel Aviv today, visiting families of hostages who gathered to watch live video of Hamas releasing more Israeli captives. Haley Ott reports from Tel Aviv.
Chaos in Gaza as Israeli hostages Arbel Yehud and Gadi Moses were handed over to the Red Cross. Crushing crowds surrounded 29-year-old Yehud, who looked terrified as Hamas fighters moved her along. Earlier Thursday, in another part of Gaza, 20-year-old Agam Berger, an Israeli soldier, was set free. It's the third time militants have let hostages go since a ceasefire took hold in the Gaza Strip earlier this month, and was a stark contrast to the slick choreography of previous releases. The frantic scene sparked outrage from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who ordered a delay in Thursday's Palestinian prisoner exchange. Hours later, more than 100 were turned over. In Tel Aviv, Israelis celebrated the homecoming of more hostages. But there was desperation for the return of the rest.
We need them all, the dead ones and the alive hostages, everybody back.
After 15 months of relentless war, long-awaited reunions like this offer a glimmer of hope for families still waiting. Haley Ott, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
Well, companies are going to have to cough up some big bucks for ads during this year's Super Bowl. For a mere 30-second ad, the spot will cost you $8 million. Now, the reason for the high price is because we're so close to game day and because demand is exceeding supply. The rematch between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs is on February 9th. And if you're planning a party for the big game, analysts say it'll run you about $140 for the whole thing. Now, the overall cost has mostly held steady, but some items are pricier now. Those include chicken wings, which went up more than 7% over last year, and the price of avocados is also up 11% higher than a year ago. There is an upside, as some of the items that cost less this year include chips, salsa, celery, and shrimp.
And stick around, I'll talk you through all of the warnings and also take a look at the first alert radar and satellite coming up after the break. Well, happy Thursday, everybody. Of course, today is a first alert weather day as we're tracking heavy rain across Oahu and a continued rainfall throughout the rest of this evening and overnight. And of course, thunderstorms as well. We had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier today over Hawaii Kai and also extending up to Waimanalo. We have a severe thunderstorm watch throughout the next several hours until 6 p.m. this evening. Right now, that includes Honolulu and Maui County, including the offshore waters as well. Several warnings to talk about. A flash flood warning up for Oahu until 2 p.m. this evening. Heavy rainfall still coming down. A flood watch up across the entire state until 6 p.m. tomorrow, and a high wind warning until 12 p.m. on Friday. Strong southerly winds are coming in right now. Our first alert radar and satellite. Let's show you what's going on outside right now. This is around 12:20 p.m. and over the last 4 hours, you can see the system moving up towards Oahu and bringing some lightning. And you can even see that severe thunderstorm that we were tracking that was over the eastern portions of the island, moving off to our northeast. Some more thunderstorms are moving in from the south right now, but it's starting to get a little bit less rainy over the western portions of Oahu, over the leeward coast and over towards the north shore. It's mostly focused over the eastern portions of the island. And you can see there's that severe thunderstorm cell that we were tracking. That warning has been canceled. More activity coming in from the south right now. Moving over to Maui County, you can see this line of moisture moving in towards Molokai, moving in towards Lanai, and will impact Maui over the next several hours. The Big Island relatively quiet right now, and Kauai relatively quiet as well. A couple of showers possible coming down. Let's break down our hour-by-hour forecast because I want to walk this through very slowly so you can see what's going on outside. This is Thursday right around right now as we're going into 1 p.m. Still seeing some impacts over the gathering place and starting to impact Maui County. And I also want you to pay attention up to the northwest here. That's that cold front that's going to move in tonight. It's been stalled to our northwest throughout all of this morning, and it's going to bring a second round of rainfall. 4 p.m. still seeing impacts over Maui County, lighter rainfall over Oahu, still showers across the state, and we're going to see intensification as we're going into this evening as this cold front pushes in across the island chain. This is 11 p.m. We're seeing another round of rainfall across Oahu, Maui County, impacting the Kona coast of Hawaii Island and also Kauai as well. We're going to continue to see heavy rainfall throughout Friday morning. Notice Friday morning we're drying out slightly over Oahu and Kauai. Most of the impacts throughout Friday will be over the eastern half of the state. Drier and more comfortable air is going to move in as we're going into this upcoming Friday afternoon. Still seeing some showers over Hawaii Island and Maui County around 6 p.m. on Friday. Overall drier weather pattern is expected by the time we get to this upcoming Saturday and Sunday. You can see these southerly winds just screaming out of the south, introducing a lot of instability and a lot of moisture. That's why we're seeing that severe weather out there right now. Your first alert 7-day forecast, you can see Thursday and Friday. First alert weather days, thunderstorms out there right now, mostly over the eastern portions of the state on Friday. Beautiful weather expected this Saturday and Sunday.
Thank you, Drew. Well, still to come, why the birth of a baby shark at a Louisiana aquarium has baffled scientists. We have your good news now in 2 minutes. U.S. Mint's 2025 Native American $1 coin featuring Mary Kavena Pukui has now launched. Now, Pukui was a landmark scholar credited by many for preserving and protecting Native Hawaiian language and culture. The coin's design features Pukui wearing a hibiscus flower, a kukui nut lei, and a mu'umu'u with leaves from the kukui nut tree. There's also an inscription of Nana Ike Kumu, the title of a series of books that Pukui helped to produce with Queen Liliuokalani's Children's Center.
And a baby shark was hatched at a Louisiana aquarium despite there being no male sharks in the tank.
What?
Footage from the Shreveport Aquarium shows employees helping an infant swell shark hatch from its egg. The aquarium said the 2 female sharks in the tank had not been in contact with a male shark in 3 years, suggesting that the phenomenon occurred either due to a delayed fertilization or because of a rare form of asexual reproduction called parthenogenesis. Excuse me.
It's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. And so Pantone has its color of the year, but did you know there's also a flavor of the year?
That's right, and the flavor of 2025 is ají amarillo. That's according to top spice maker McCormick. So it's a yellow chili pepper native to South America with vibrant notes of tropical fruit and has a similar heat level to cayenne pepper, but it's described as an approachable heat. So the seasoning is popular on meats and dips, and you can even distill it into simple syrup for cocktails. The sweet heat makes it perfect for a wide variety of dishes, so McCormick expects its use to spike in the coming year.
I like the term approachable heat.
Yeah.
Because I like a little bit of spice, but not too much.
Same.
It's approachable.
Same. Sounds good in a cocktail.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for watching. This is Now. It is a First Alert Weather Day, so stick with us for all the updates. More news first at 4 right here on KHNL.
Aloha.